Okay, well, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lieutenant General Mike Ferreter, and you can see behind me the alcoves of our beautiful National Veterans Memorial Museum. And this is our first in a series of live Facebook Live and podcasts where we're going to bring inspiring stories to you and amazing individuals to share their story with you and to involve you and impact your life. And who knows, you might be the next person we see here with us today. So first of all, thanks. And we all wish all of you the very best as you journey through this coronavirus and the COVID-19 time period. And we're really thoughtful and hopeful that you and everyone you love are doing very well. So we're here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum. And actually, I'm pretty distant, but I got a great background. I'm wearing purple today because this is the month of the military child, and I'm wearing my red Remember Everyone Deployed hat. And at least the way we look at things, it's not everyone deployed today to be remembered, but it's actually Remember Everyone Deployed. Many of us, all of us have deployed, and the impact of that deployment on our loved ones and on our life has been, in many cases, hugely impactful and life-changing, and in most cases gave us a series of experiences and friendships and bonds that last us for life. And so to include my son Dan, who is deployed on his about 10th combat deployment, and soon to come home to his beautiful bride, Jessica, and baby Finley. And I know many of you have that as well. So today is a special day. We're joined with Jennifer Loredo Ballou. And Jennifer and I met probably some number of years ago now. And she was the premier Army Resiliency trainer and a remarkable leader, woman, soldier. And I'll give you a little bit of background and then we'll get going. But Master Sergeant retired Jennifer Loredo Ballou enlisted in the Army in 1994. And just 3 weeks after high school. And she served for 21 years, retiring in May of 2015. She was married to Staff Sergeant Eddie Loredo. They were paratroopers and warriors and deployed at the same time. And on June 24th, Staff Sergeant Eddie Loredo was killed in action. And Jennifer was there by his side, actually, in the most remarkable of all experiences that she'll share much with us. She's a beautiful family of 3 children and lives in and around the Fort Hood area, the Great Place, we would say. And she was a member of the Chief Staff of the Army Survivor Outreach Council and impacted lives, both as a Master Resiliency trainer, but also as a Gold Star wife and a Gold Star mom with her kids. And she now is the CEO and founder of A Joyful Life with Jennifer, which help women, veterans, and military spouses navigate the change while living a whole life together. She brings so much to this, and I am just thrilled to pieces to have this as our inaugural event, because just because those doors are closed doesn't mean we can't help people, and we will. And that's really why the National Veterans Memorial Museum on a grander scale exists. And so good morning, Jennifer. Great to see you.
Good morning.
So happy. And let's just start with you. Go ahead and open up and tell us about yourself, about your career, and why you're here today. Over.
Thank you so much, sir, for this honor to join you in your first Facebook Live during this challenging time for everybody. You shared quite a bit about me already. I did serve in the Army for 21 years. My MOS was actually dental assistant. So for most of my career, I was serving in that capacity as either a dental assistant, a healthcare administrator, and ultimately the first sergeant of a deployable dental company, an airborne dental company that deployed to Afghanistan in 2010 to set up clinics throughout the country to support our warfighters. And during that time, in 2010, my husband, Staff Sergeant Eduardo Loredo, was killed in action. As you can imagine, and as many of you can imagine, my life dramatically changed. My life and my children's lives changed dramatically that day. One message that I like to share is the only thing that we really know for sure in life that's going to happen is change. And that's really when I started to open my eyes to, this life that I'm living and that I think I have planned out so well, isn't necessarily going to go the way that I think it will. And so, shortly after that, I became a part of the Army's resilience program, comprehensive soldier and family fitness, teaching resilience to our soldiers' families and retirees, and received some phenomenal training through the University of Pennsylvania on how to teach people how to be more resilient, which I didn't even know was a thing actually at that point. And so during that journey, I did a little bit of self-reflection and thought, if I'm going to be teaching people how to be resilient, I probably need to practice these skills myself. And that really started a journey of self-learning and self-improvement. Ultimately, I did retire from the Army in 2018, and another really unexpected but wonderful thing happened shortly thereafter. I met my now husband, Omari, and we have since had a daughter, Sophia, together. So, I've experienced many highs and many lows, and it's an honor to be able to share my experiences with this group today.
That's fantastic. Let's not miss one of the obvious things, which is a high school graduate 3 weeks later raising hand, heading off to basic training and saying, "Come on, world, bring it on. I'm going to take it on." And probably that hasn't changed for good or worse, but this idea of mindfulness and attitude equals altitude. Give your thoughts as a woman entering into a pretty robust world. How did you view that, and how did you take it on, full stream?
That's a great question, sir. Honestly, I don't really think I knew what I was getting myself into, to be perfectly honest. No one in the recent history of my family had been in the military at all. But it was something that just was calling. And for me, the second I got to basic training, I absolutely loved it. And just really learned throughout the course of my adult life that service is really what it has been about for me. Serving others, serving my country. As a woman, I'm very proud to have served and retired from the United States Army. But for me, I don't know. I never really look at it necessarily as a woman, but just as a soldier with my brothers and sisters in arms. We all do and have done something very special. And I just am honored to have had the opportunity to do so. On the topic of mindfulness, gosh, I wish that I would have known then what I know now. I probably would have been able to navigate some things a little bit better. I think all adults say that. If I knew then what I know now. But this topic of mindfulness, especially now with this challenging time that we are all experiencing together, I think it's a great time for people who may not have a mindfulness or even know what mindfulness is, what a great time to give it a shot. What a great time.
Hey, just expand a little bit more on that, in the practicality side of it. Often I say the only thing in life we're going to control is our attitude. And I really like what you said. And the thing we can count on is there'll be change. And I'm going to add that to my kind of thought. But with regard to mindfulness and attitude and approach to how, let's take it down to how you get up and, lace up your combat boots each morning and get going these days. What are your first thoughts of the day to ensure that you get the most out of the day that you want to get out of it?
Right. That's a great question, sir. And the first thing that comes to my mind, and I actually learned this theme as a master resilience trainer, and it's really just stuck with me, is this premise of focusing on what I can control. So, there are so many things that are going on around us each and every day that it very easily can take our attention and our energy in many different directions. And a lot of times we can't control those things. So, and I'm guilty of it, but I really try to focus my time, attention, and energy on the things that I can control. The things that I know are going to make me feel good and be able to perform the best I can as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, as a veteran. So, things such as, and it might sound minute or silly, but getting enough sleep every night, eating properly, making sure that I exercise each and every day or move my body in some way, shape, or form, which looks a little different now that all the kids are home with me, but we're still making it happen. And just being mindful of the things that really matter to me. So again, just circling back around, focusing on the things that we can control, no matter how small they are, really makes a big difference.
Yeah, we like to say, it's wellness or mindfulness, and then it's fitness, and then it's foodness, and then it's restness, right? And
That's right.
if you think of those four things, all of us can make a plan and then challenge ourselves to follow that. And actually, for our veteran group who are listening in and their family members and all others, many of us were used to a routine, and then as we departed service, and it's may even been a number of years, we've kind of fallen off that. So one of the takeaways and challenges for everyone out there is, hey, just start small, small gains, small routine, stay steady, and some of us arrived at basic training in the best shape of our life, and some of us allowed the drill sergeant to get us there. So
that's right.
Micro gains equal macro gains. Now, this is a great month. I'm wearing purple again because it's the month of the military child, and you have 3. And so you are a businesswoman, you're a veteran, you're a wife, you're a mom, and you're a friend, and you're, I don't even know if you're brothers and sisters and all that, but you got a big world there. So describe both the challenges and your victories with regard to raising a military family, and, in the whole journey that you've been in.
Yes, sir. Challenges. Wow. Well, there are a lot of unknowns living the military life. And I'm sure everybody that's here with us today can relate to that in one way or another. So both as a soldier and now as a military spouse, there's just an innumerable amount of things that we're not able to control or that we're not expecting to happen. And so I think being flexible is one of the keys to success, which is definitely easier said than done. I've been saying a lot recently because when I was married to Eddie, I was wearing the uniform as well. And that was quite different than now I'm not wearing the uniform and I'm a military spouse. It's hard. I honestly really sometimes almost feel guilty for what I thought it'd be like to be in those shoes. It's a lot harder. Communication is so very important with our loved ones, spouse, children, brothers, sisters, friends, that can, make or break relationships. Communication and just being flexible. Those are really the things that come to mind for me.
I want to just take everyone to one place. I learned from Jennifer one time that this idea of conversation killing, and many of us, all of us do this, but basically, I think the overarching theme is really be a great listener and participate in the conversation, but kind of take us through this useful tip and idea in order to at a time where we're all locked in with each other, we might as well communicate with everyone around us. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So one of the skills that we taught or we teach to the Army as a master resilience trainer, it's called active constructive responding. And the premise behind it is that relationships matter. Now, there's a handful of relationships that really matter that you want to grow. You don't want to kill these relationships. And so something as simple as how you respond to somebody that you care about's good news can either help the relationship or harm it. And so active constructive responding is, when my husband or one of my children come home with some good news that they want to share with me, listening to what they say, putting down the phone for a few minutes, looking them in the eye and really listening to what they're sharing, and then engaging with them, asking them some questions about it, and responding in a way that lets them know that I am there with them. Sharing this good news is the only way that will really help grow that relationship. And I think we're all guilty of, especially the phone is just such a good example. It's tied to our hip at all times. We think we're listening as we're texting or typing an email, but we're really not. How long does it take to set that phone down and engage with this person that we care about?
Yeah. And then, we use in our seminars this idea when someone gets in your face as well about something, to kind of say, hey, whoa, wait, stop right there, take 2 steps back, let's readjust, because we just got a little bit off, or it's the unexpected, that someone just comes and the customer is upset, which we should never be surprised that a customer is happy, ambivalent, or upset. Those are the only 3 things that it's going to step. But when you do pay attention, how do you ensure you enhance the conversation instead of kill the conversation?
Well, you make sure that you enhance it by asking questions. So is there any news that's happened to you recently that maybe you could share with me that I could give a real-time example about?
Yeah, so let's say I had a daughter who said, hey, I'm a sophomore and I just got asked to the prom by a senior, and he's the high school football coach, high school football quarterback, right?
Okay, quarterback. Okay, that's a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
better.
Yeah, so you could ask her some questions. Well, how did he ask you? Where were you when he asked you? How did it make you feel when you got asked to the prom? Maybe, do you have any idea of what kind of dress that you want to wear? Would you like to go shopping together? Those are all types of questions that you could ask or engage to, grow that relationship. Now, a lot of times something might come up, and this could be an example that there are some concerns as a parent here, that by all means should be brought up. But if they're not an immediate threat or an immediate danger, those things can probably wait. It's not going to harm anyone or anything if that waits and you really take the time to engage in this good news that your daughter's sharing with you.
Yeah. So as we go, thanks. I love it. So as we're going through this pandemic together, and we're going through it with our shelter-in-place buddies, spouses and kids, a great example would be that someone comes up with the idea, hey, let's start eating healthy, and I'm going to come up with a new menu, and you could kill that conversation, ladies and gentlemen, by the following response rather than the discussion. So what would be an example that a robust person who loves giant red meat steaks and is not worried about the quarantine 15 until, I'm going to get in shape later idea. But then the spouse, partner, friend says, hey, I got an idea. Let's hit fitness and foodness. And how should we react? Probably.
How we should react is, wow, I love that you are thinking about making some healthy lifestyle changes during a time when we can really work on this together. What are some ways that you're thinking about doing that? And then, they may say, well, yeah, I think we can probably start eating a little bit healthier. And then I could say something like, well, what do you think about sitting down and coming up with a menu for the next few days of foods that we want to cook together? And make sure that, we have all the groceries that we need, and we can make a list of things that we don't need. So that would be a response. And then if they want to start exercising, well, I know that you're still working every day, even though it's from home. So when do you think a time each day would be that we could set aside 20 to 30 minutes to start getting some movement? We don't want to go crazy. Maybe an hour is a little bit much to start with, but what do you think about a consistent 20 to 30 minutes? When is that? Let's put it on our calendar.
Yeah. These days, trying to be the fittest ranger is less important to Miss Margie and me, but rather move, do something, walk. So decide that, we got to sort of reprogram our brain from wanting to have that amazing, 5 miles in under 35 minute, run cardiac hill 3 times or area J and all that, to really pay yourself. All of this is about paying yourself.
That's right.
First and foremost.
And if I may,
hey everyone. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, doing some sort of movement or fitness that you enjoy. So, you want to exercise and you want to get in shape, but if you hate running, then I just think it's worth mentioning, maybe running isn't the workout of choice that you want to do in those 20 to 30 minutes.
Exactly. Just if you just signed in, I'm General Mike Ferreter at the National Veterans Memorial Museum, and I'm with Jennifer Ballou, retired Army Master Sergeant and Master Resilience Trainer, and the founder and CEO of A Joyful Life with Jennifer. And as we go through, we're going to open up to questions, and we'll work through the getting that from all of you out there in order to receive a response. All the easy questions should come to me, and all the challenging questions to go to Jennifer. But Jennifer, founding CEO of A Joyful Life with Jennifer, and you'll be able to reach her at jenniferballou.com, and we'll post that as well as time goes on. So in this time where we are physically constrained somewhat, and I think also if you kind of cast your eyes for us on the horizon a bit, there's starting to be announcements of a relaxing of some of the restrictions. So how would you take a journey back towards normalcy in your life or in your family's life? Over.
That's a great question, sir. So I'm not how would I take a journey back to normalcy? Well, I think initially I would say slowly. At least for us. And there's quite a few of us in the house. So maybe like my son, Eddie, he's really excited to like get back to school and with his friends and do all the things. But I think slowly, no matter what type of change or new thing that you are moving towards is the best bet. So not just going full throttle on day one. There are a ton of things that we have learned as a family over it's been over a month now, that maybe we want to take forward with us and not just leave by the wayside. I mentioned that the kids and I have been exercising every morning. And so it might not be realistic for us to do it every day once things are back to normal or the restrictions are lifted, but it's something that I would like to try to make the time for a couple of times a week. So my answer is slow. It's going to vary by person and by family, but I think there's something to be said for taking some time to identify the good things that you have learned during this time and maybe what's worth bringing along with you.
Yeah. As some people really like to be in groups. There are great groups out there like stroller strides and CrossFit teams or boxes and mobility workout of the day with Kelly started. And others they're kind of individual and they kind of don't want to log into necessarily a fitness thing where they're competing against the number of push-ups and burpees that someone else in a distant place. So how would you say for someone that favors individual fitness or group fitness, especially the individual, the get started side of that? Any reflections on that?
So you're asking, just I want to make sure I understand, sir. How do they get started? Some sort of fitness routine if they prefer to be on their own as opposed to working out with groups?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think there's something to be said for working with a coach or somebody else. It doesn't have to be a big group of people, but if you're trying to get started with something and you know that you need a little extra boost, but you don't have that in you at this moment, then I would say find an accountability partner at a minimum, or just one person that can sort of meet you where you are and go on this journey with you, because we're always stronger in numbers. And even if you don't want to be a part of 20 working out, you're going to still be stronger with just one other person by your side.
Yeah. Also, tie the thought to encouragers versus discouragers, or bridge builders versus bridge burners. A lot of times people have the picture of who we are. And when you reach out to them and say, I need you to be the person that's going to help me get started in this life change, and they're like, don't bother. You can't run, and you never liked working out. So talk about the selection of whether the coach is physically with you, virtually with you, or just that person you check in with. A little thought there, please.
Yeah. I mean, I think even before you reach out to whoever it is that you're going to reach out to, you need to do an honest assessment about what your expectations are going to be from that person, and do you think that person can deliver? And if you don't think that they can, then it's probably not worth reaching out to them to be that accountability person. But if and when you do decide you're going to reach out to somebody, maybe just ask them, can you be this for me? be honest with me. This is what I need from you. Can you give it to me? Because maybe they don't have the time right now to do it. Maybe they want to, but they don't have the time. So I think just communication would be a great start.
Great. Fantastic. Right up the middle of the fairway again. Hey, everyone, we're going to have a 5K, a 1 mile, and a 10K, a Memorial Day run. And the National Veterans War Museum is hosting that. Along with Greenswell, our partner, and other partners. And it's going to be a virtual run. Now, the virtual part is that we're not physically coming together to our parking lot. It's not that you virtually think about running. You're going to run or walk. But so this is Memorial Day, and you'll see it both on our website, and you'll see it on this Facebook site. And what we want you to do is sign up. You can purchase a T-shirt. On it, it will say, "I will always remember." It'll have the NVMM. It'll have American flag, and it'll have a white bar of sorts. We saw this in runs that we did often while deployed on the bib or on the shirt. And with your Sharpie, you would be able to write, "I will always remember Eddie," right? And so that shirt becomes personalized for all of you and all of us. And no kidding, the National Veterans Memorial Museum is a national museum. And even in these times, we get no federal money. And so it's the ingenuity and the innovation and creativity of my great team, or our great team at the NVMM, people like Lauren Hayes, who came up with we wanted to run, we wanted to do great things on Memorial Weekend, and that's right on the cusp of getting groups together. So let's reject rejection, and let's get out there. And so I'm looking forward to people in Tacoma or Tampa or Atlanta or Houston or Fort Hood or Fort Bragg sending the picture to us of their start line and their finish line. And finish line might be their front door. And then again, by way of community, we'll share with each other our experiences as well. And so, Jennifer, expect to see you and the team. Now, we picked 10K because there are now 6 services counting the Space Force. Get a load of that. And so it should be a great time for us to once again connect and impact the lives of as many veterans and family members, and connect non-veterans to our community as well. I'm gonna check with our team to see if any questions. If you have any questions, please send them to the Facebook site. And while you do that, some people think that being a military kid is rough. So it is the month of military children. As we hunt the good stuff in their lives, look at their lives, how are the many experiences they've had affected, your beautiful kids? And, what do you think is the best part for them to be a military kid?
That's a great question, sir. I think that the best part for them about being a military child is the many people and places that they're exposed to throughout their lives that they probably would not have otherwise been exposed to. So, for me as a child, I grew up in Mentor, Ohio, and I was exposed to Mentor, Ohio, and maybe a few towns around that, and all the people that lived in Mentor, and that's great. But my children have been to places all over the world. So, for example, I was stationed in Vicenza, Italy for 3 years, which I understand there's some people from Vicenza listening in right now. So shout out to everyone in Vicenza, but Germany and Washington, D.C., and just the many different places, which also exposes them to so many different people, is the best thing. My daughter, Alexa, who from Ohio University, has said many times that, growing up as a military we moved was very hard for her, especially like in those high school years. But she's so grateful now that she had those experiences, because it really helped her once she got to college, just be able to be flexible and take that first step towards meeting new people and being in new places. So military children are awesome, and they definitely don't have it easy, but they are very, very resilient.
I think what I grew up in an Army family, and we moved around quite a bit, and married into an Army family with Margie, and then we raised an Army family. And I think it's fair also to say that each child is an individual, and introverts are introverts and extroverts are extroverts. And so as we bring them along, it's key and essential to understand where they are most comfortable, and then how to stretch their horizons and stretch them so that not everyone is going to be Eddie or Mikey Ferreter or Earl Rice. There are some that are going to need to ease into change. It seems that in our family, they always cried leaving. Someone was always crying leaving and always crying arriving, and then crying leaving again. So they never wanted to go to the next place, and then they never wanted to leave it. But with regard to different personalities, you've seen that both in the Army and in the family. Comments on how you would approach helping them through those times?
That's a great question. And sir, that's a great point that you made about every child is an individual, and they're going to deal with and react to things differently based on who they are. So I just think that it's important to, recognize that, and, just support them in the best way that you know how. And also, all the services, no matter which one it is, has so many resources that are available for us and for our children and our families. And so just being aware of what those are and which ones may help your children and or your family during different times is very helpful too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've got a question there as well from...
Looks like, we have a question from Mindy. The question is, what are some tips for managing stress during stay-at-home directives? That's an excellent question, Mindy. The first thing that comes to my mind is, taking some time to yourself. And that might not look like it typically would. But I think it's great that we're all home together and we're trying to, grow our relationships and do all these things together. But it's still very important to take some time out for yourself each and every day. And so what that looks like for you may look a little bit different than it does for me with a 15-month-old baby. But locking myself in the bathroom for 10 minutes might be as good as it gets on some days, or going for a walk. But one is to take some time for yourself. Another one is, if you've never tried yoga or meditation, now's a great time to give it a try. There are a ton of online free resources for veterans and their families, which I would love to, if I could give a couple shout outs to two of them in particular that are doing some online yoga and meditation. One of them is here. It's a studio called Life Moves Yoga here in Killeen. They are owned by an Army family, and they have free online yoga classes almost every single day. Great. And then there's also a nonprofit organization called Warriors at Ease that just launched a online program. The name of it is escaping me at the moment. But the organization is Warriors at Ease, and they are doing free online yoga and meditation as well. So even if you have tried it in the past, now's a great time to give it a try. So those are 2 tips that I would offer you, Mindy.
Fantastic. We have several audiences, we've got just this amazing team. And so let's talk about just shift a little bit towards members. Members are supporting us. Some are second and third and fourth generation military families, and others didn't serve, but they really believe in what it is we represent and who we represent. And so I'm looking for a question or two from our members out there, but your thoughts on, 1/3 the Army families live off post, and 1/3 live on post, 2/3 live off post generally. And so mixing and matching within the community and within the schools that Alexis went to and Eddie's going to may not always be. So how do you see that connection to other than military and veterans as you've journeyed your life?
Can you rephrase the question, sir?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
How do you translate your life and your experiences to those who've not walked in those shoes, but they're always close to us as neighbors and community leaders?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. That's a powerful question, because there are so many people who haven't worn the uniform or walked in our shoes, but are very passionate about supporting us. And I think it's important that we let them know how much that's appreciated, because we can't do what we do without the support of our neighbors and our nation. And so I guess that would be my answer in short, is just letting them know how much their support is appreciated. It doesn't matter if they wore the uniform or not.
Yeah, there's a great, magnificent leader. Her name is Frances Hesselbee, and she's been an advisor to many of the senior leaders in our military for years. She's the woman that saved the Girl Scouts about 30 years ago when they were about to go under. And she teaches me all the time, we have more in common than we have difference. And so for our members, for other supporters, for our community, and to our veterans, there's way more in common than sort of this person that served is now trying to reintegrate into the community. It's actually, there's a lot in common. And then there's some differences. And I would ask everyone to reach towards each other to create the new team based on the variety of experiences that each team member brings. It looks like we got a question from Robbie.
We do. Robbie asked, can you share a book or resource regarding building resilience? A great question, Robbie. So a couple of recommendations. The first one is a book called The Resilience Factor by Dr. Karen Reivitch. She is actually the primary instructor that taught all of the Army's resilience trainers. She works at the department at the University of Pennsylvania. Fabulous book. And then wouldn't say that her books are specific to resilience, but they support resilience, and that's Brené Brown. She has different books that I love each and every one of them. That would be another resource that I would suggest that you check out as well. Great question. Thank you.
This one's a little bit question out of left field, but as well as families, as well as individuals, I've got this magnificent team of 20, 24, 25, 26 people who are absolutely lighting the world on fire with a virtual run, with tell us your stories of inspiration, share your stories of inspiration, these podcasts. And we've all been in Teams meetings 3 times a day, a battery of this and that. So how do we find our recovery space while we work together to stay fresh and understanding, as things often over the net are a little more stark, a little more directed. So in terms of team building while working at distance, any other thoughts on that? Jennifer hasn't. We didn't rehearse this question, but it's in your wheelhouse, I know.
Yeah. So I think you're asking, how do you continue to build your team and stay connected while you are physically disconnected? You're not at the office each and every day. I mean, this is a great example of we're able to connect with people via technology. I mean, this is amazing that we're able to project this talk to so many people while they're at home. They can see our faces, they can ask us questions. So using technology is really super, super powerful. It's showing us that we don't necessarily have to all be at the office to get the same job done, really. I mean, we can still meet, we can still talk, we can still ask questions. So there is some danger to technology because sometimes we feel like we need to be, on it 24/7 or, within an arm's reach all the time. It is important to still keep those boundaries. But to build the team by using things like this is amazing.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the boundaries as well. When any one of us who's been deployed at about day 100, maybe even day 30 if you're a really good unit, someone calls timeout and says, we really can't be emailing each other around the clock expecting at 5:45 when you give an update to the boss that all answers have been answered. It won't work. And so great officer and friend Dan Allen and I were together in Iraq, and after about 30 days we said, okay, these are the boundaries. Life, limb, and eyesight after 9 o'clock. Other than that, let everyone shut down, let them read a book, let them write a letter home. And I think I'm seeing with my team, they're working, there's no water cooler goof off time joke at 3 o'clock in the afternoon time. They're working really strong and hard. And so all teams out there have to be able to say, this is the time at which the business stops and the family rekindles, and the attention to yourself also. I see something there from Doc Campbell. Let me see that. Yeah, so Doc Campbell has posted some VA resources, I'm guessing, on our Facebook site. And he's a local hero who's also in one of our thematic alcoves. And so, Doc, thanks for that. And Bill, thanks for passing that on. Again, we're talking with Jennifer Loredo-Ballou, and she is coming to us from Texas, but bringing you thoughtfulness on how to live a strong and resilient life, whether it be the pandemic or whether it just be normally. And one of the questions asked was also, how do we get to Warriors at Ease? And Jennifer, can you see that note there from Ms. Dorian?
How do we get to? No, I didn't see that. How do we get to Warriors at Ease?
Okay, so
I see the website there.
Yeah, it's going to be Warriors at Ease, all one word.org. Warriors at ease.org. I think Vicki has a question for you.
Yes, sir. I see a question from Vicki. It says, how do you reset when you realize you have spiraled a bit from mindfulness in times of trial, fear, or exhaustion? Vicki, that's a really great question. And it's also very applicable to our time right now. I think that first and foremost, we need to give ourselves some extra love and extra grace right now. We are in a new time, in a period where we've really never experienced this before. And so if and when we spiral, we need to let ourselves know that it's okay, not be super hard on ourselves, but then just take some small steps back to getting wherever it is that we came from, or wherever it is that we want to go. So this theme has been kind of coming up a few times during our talk today. Anytime that you're trying to make a change or move forward in pursuit of something, small steps are really what's going to win the race. And so not to just flip a switch and get right back to where you were, but know that taking some small steps to get there is really how it's going to happen. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Would you also add that, you might have a little list of, there are people that we support and they can drain the life out of you, but they need your support. And then there are people who support us, or they are that mentor. And so I sort of have these two lists that I keep, it's like, hey, I need to help. I'm still helping so-and-so, but I'm not going to call so-and-so to carry me through a spiral. I'm going to come over here to this and the encourager list when I need that. Your thoughts on that?
Sir. Yeah, I mean, being aware of who those people are, like you said, that really kind of drain our energy versus help refill our tank, and setting those boundaries, once again, back to the boundaries topic, of knowing when you are able to invest a little more time and energy towards that person who is the drain of your energy versus the person who is refilling it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. So if there was if there was one thing that you wanted to make sure that everyone knew about today, or knew today, and let me make the point, we've been talking about feelings, and all that. Jennifer Ballou is a paratrooper who took on the challenges to join the Army, to make it through the basic training, to make it through, so she's tough as nails, and then she's smart, wicked smart, they'd say in New England, to become a dental hygienist. And then she's versatile in being able to shift from that profession, that precise profession, to this more thoughtful profession. And she's a combat veteran, and she's a Gold Star spouse, and she's a great mom with Sergeant Major Ballou. She's a great military team. So don't misjudge this book by itself. She's tough, and she's given the middle of the road side of all that we've heard. But I wanted to make sure everyone knows that your sons and daughter can, when they want to see what right looks like, will see Jennifer and see people such as her on our podcast, and can use these role models also as a guiding light. But your kind of closing thoughts and on what you think about today and what you think will be important to you in the next 10 days.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I'm honored to have been a part of this with you and the NVMM. So thank you so much for including me. My thoughts about our talk today, and really just, I think, without even rehearsing it, we kind of came back to several topics or themes throughout the things that we spoke about. And one of them being, this thought of making small steps. If you're trying to accomplish something or make a change in your life or try something new or whatever it may be, we're in a day and age where we want everything now. We want to lose 30 pounds now. We want to be able to deadlift 300 pounds now. We want to be able to finish school now, whatever it may be. but that's just not how it works. And so, slow and steady wins the race. That's the theme that I would really like to ask everyone to take away from today is slow and steady wins the race. In terms of my focus over the next 10 days, it's really not going to change. For me, what works is a consistent routine. I have to be a little bit more flexible with it right now, just with everybody home every day, all day, but we still kind of have our battle rhythm. We have our routine. Sometimes we sway from it, and there's no need to get super upset about it, which that's me. I like things to be straight and narrow, but I'm trying to be flexible. So staying on that routine and continuing on the things that we spoke about early in the conversation, getting enough sleep, eating properly, exercising, and practicing mindfulness so that I can have a full tank in order to take care of the people that I take care of.
That's fantastic. It really is. So again, Jennifer Ballou, who's the CEO of A Joyful Life with Jennifer LLC, and you can reach her, both Google that, A Joyful Life with Jennifer, and then also at jenniferballou.com. James, I think, will post that kind of information. I think it was in the actual original call out. I would love feedback from our audience on the kinds of things that you would like to hear in the future. I would love feedback on our session today. I've now stepped outside and I have the computer behind me. I see an email came in. I really want everyone out there to think about connecting with someone. And before I close, Jennifer, any other closing thoughts by you for this magnificent audience today?
Just another reminder about the relationships that really matter to you. Taking the time to step away from whatever it is you're doing when they come to you with something that they want to share or some good news, and really seeing how it feels for both of you to engage in that conversation. I think now is a great time to give that a shot. So that's it. Thank you, sir.
Awesome, everyone. Okay, so for everybody out there, hey, join us. We are up, alive with podcasts, with share your stories. If you have a great story, write it down. We have a semi format, but imagine that the museum has the Jennifer Loredo Ballou exhibit, and those items that you would take pictures of your mom or dad or loved one, and your story can be a part of our exhibit halls online. We see that coming. We see online tours being developed. We'll have a vetrepreneur store. And if you're a vetrepreneur, to include a vetrepreneur who provides services, I can see that coming now for the yoga and these kind of things. We're here to help and to advance you. We have these podcasts, our rally points. Gretchen's going to bring rally points virtually. And so our first of the month Saturday, where normally we invite veterans to come in, we buy them a brunch, and we make sure they're not living in a car. We make sure that that they're strong and that they have some form of employment, or we help them, or we get them to veteran service organizations and physically to Franklin County and to Columbus, the city of Columbus, and to Ohio, the state of Ohio. But now virtually, we'll bring those same resources from the Department of Labor and the VA and other people with super great ideas. We'll have the doc there, Doc Campbell, on this next one. So we are alive and well. Visualize our website. You're standing at the front door here, and your hands are on the handles, and you open up the website to have your life impacted by the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. And that's great. Thanks, Sue. And then finally, reach out. Here's my outs. I'm getting out of here. So reach out. Reach out to someone. Make life better for them and for yourself. Work out. Start small. Micro gains equal macro gains. work out, find out, be curious about what's going on around us and how you can get involved and help. Shout out, give credit to everybody for all that they do and who they are. And then finally, I'm out. So have a great day. Jennifer, thank you. Thanks for the staff and the team that pulled this together. Facebook is still alive and well. Our website is as well. Pass on your great feedback to us. And that will be shared with Jennifer, but also incorporated into our future programming. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay well, and be a part of our life too. And I'm out of here.